whereof one cannot speak, thereof one cannot stay silent. You are lost in the gasp of transmission of the memories and the unconscious part of your ancestral stories. You embody the collective memory of your perpetrator nation. We will now go through the process of shedding light onto your shame and your fear. I will count from 10 to 1, thereby facilitating your coming into being. By 1, you will be living in the presence of the past. 10. You love water. You love nature. You enjoy swimming and hiking. You put an honor to be able to use your body physically. Being sick or having a disability threatens your raison d'être. Might this be related to the historical framing of the German body? 9. You loved your grandfather, but hated that he never distanced himself from what he had done. Although you have to admit that you don't know what he had been doing. You know no concrete stories. His stories remained abstract and were talked about in these general aspects. However, he would say things like, "There are so many beautiful elements in the National Socialistic movement. A nation needs to be able to be proud of itself. Oh, you can't understand, you weren't there. You know, they spread so many lies about us. We never killed 6 million people. I have a book proving that it was no more than 150,000 people. The book was published in England." 8. March 2nd, 2022. For the first time since you got his memoir, you continued reading after having read more than 2 pages. It always made you feel sick. One long story of glorification, explanations, self-defense and victimization of his past. You feel the urge to put the book away, but also the urge to learn more. 7. It's interesting how you carry on your family tradition and thereby history. Your grandparents got married in this beautiful, huge cathedral. Your grandmother looks stunning in the pictures in her long white dress. However, you come out of an atheist family and you discuss humans not having free will with your kids. You learned that your grandparents left the church when entering the party. 6. You learned about the concept of epigenetic inheritance, meaning that parents' stressful experiences can be transmitted to the offspring. These effects may endure for several generations. This alteration in the gene expression is not due to changes in the DNA code, but due to epigenetic tagging. They resemble ornamentation put on the DNA. You wonder which part of your grandparents' trauma you passed on to your kids. And your psychologist asks you why you're so obsessed with this phenomenon. Should you not decide to change your approach to the trauma instead? I count 5. You have always been and are acting like a chameleon, but can't escape shame. At the age of 19, you moved to another country. 2 months later, you denied being a German. You traveled into the world with a new flag sewn onto your backpack. The world all of the sudden cordially welcomed you. An unfamiliar and warm feeling. But you felt that you betrayed everybody. 4. Enacting silence. The interpersonal field determines how the past is constructed. You got a dissociated version of the past. And also in your family, the process of transmission of history is gendered. Your father remains completely silent. Your mum makes the talking, telling that her mother-in-law told her that there was only this one incident that she could not forgive her husband for having done during the war. He once returned proudly and proclaimed that he had refused to get involved with that French girl who had declared her love to him. Is this worthy of a soldier? 3. As long as you can remember, you have been afraid. Afraid of going to kindergarten, afraid of drawing people's attention to you by making noises, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of another big economic crash, afraid of war. You found yourself addicted to the news, especially the ones that could be interpreted as, here comes the catastrophe. And then February 24th, 2022. Donbass, Luhansk, Donetsk. You were so happy that you had firewood in your basement. 2. As a child, your father experienced hunger, and you that food was in focus. At the dinner table, there was often a charged atmosphere. Did you appreciate the food enough, or did you talk too much and too loudly? Did you eat up? Nothing was to be thrown out. You can't throw out food. You have learned something. Your son as well. In your basement, you store food for emergencies. You even have a history of bulimia. 1. You are now to wake up and to get living in the presence of the past. The process of transmission of the trauma might never fully find its most profound endpoint, the inscription of emotional truth into the narrative of the generations. However, increased awareness might cause honoring the one and liberating the other.